Hey everybody, what's up? Mike Gross here at Rocking Guitar Lessons. How are you guys? I was thinking, I did the RGL news desk about, rest in peace, Chester from Linkin Park committing suicide. Just like we lost another one. And talking about how they influenced my band. I had started a band called the Velma Fix in like 2000, and we had like a 4-year run, a couple albums. First one was just kind of a real simple, trendy, pop punk type thing, just to kind of build up a fan base. And my vision for the Velma Fix was to get really good quality musicians that can do more than just strum like your typical pop punk band. My goal was to take the Velma Fix and drive us to a heavier direction, melodic, just in-your-face, energetic. And there's a song that I wrote. It's my favorite song, and it was really a fan favorite as well. We actually closed our set with this song, and it was me on guitar and lead vocals, my buddy Armando on guitar, and we kind of did this tag back and forth with the vocals, as you're going to hear. Tom Varga on drums, and Doc Shaver on bass, and recorded this at Love Juice Laboratories in Riverside, California. And I had done a lot of the pre-production in my mind, because time is money, right, in the studio, and I love that whole production aspect, and every little tiny thing that is being played, no matter what instrument, make everything count. But this song, there are two things I want to point out with it. That it was basically a song about the record industry, and how hard it is. Basically, if you can be the greatest band in the world, but there's a lot of politics behind it. And if you don't know somebody in the industry that is willing to help you, your chances are that much harder. And I knew people. Travis Barker from Blink-182. I actually gave guitar lessons to him. I taught out of his shop, Famous Stars and Straps in Riverside. This is when he first joined Blink-182. Friends with Craig Goldie from Ronnie Dio. And know Mick Mars from Motley. But I'm not one of those people that are gonna try to take advantage of a situation. But I dealt with a lot of politics in the band. We had several managers, and at one point my wife was managing the band. I was kind of managing the band. We'd pull together, and it's actually the main reason that I quit the band that I formed. It was my baby. I've got it tattooed on my arm, the Velma Fix, and I don't regret it. Very proud of that band and the players and the music. But to back up a little bit, I remember hearing the Hybrid Theory album from Linkin Park and being floored by it. I liked their mixture of how Mike would do the rap stuff, and Chester was more the melodic, gritty vocal guy with the catchy melodies. The guitars weren't, necessarily progressive and shredding all over the place, but a good song is a good song, and I always liked Linkin Park. And Hybrid Theory is my favorite album from them. But when I wrote this song, Punk This, I had two things in mind. One was there was a part you'll hear in the breakdown where I wanted to sound kind of like an AM, real mid-rangey treble. Pull the bass back. I'm talking EQ, not the instrument, and you'll hear it in this song. And a breakdown in the middle that just kind of had that whole Linkin Park vibe. So you'll hear it when it comes up. And then I thought, I always was intrigued by Slash coming up with the intro for Sweet Child of Mine, that do 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 do. It was just so catchy, and I kind of had that in my mind. But I thought, let me take something with that concept and just make it heavier, alternate pick, and palm mute it, kind of Jakey Lee kind of thinking in my mind, Dream Theater-ish or something. So those were kind of the two elements that I drew off of. We're like sponges, right? As musicians, you're going to kind of, to be completely original is very, very, very hard. Innovators aren't born every day, so the majority of us musicians, we're products of what we listen to. We don't have Eddie Van Halen's born every decade. It just doesn't happen. But I'm going to play this song called Punk This, kind of in tribute to Chester and Linkin Park. song called Punk This. Hopefully the quality will be decent. It sounds good in here in the room, but you know how it goes, man. And by the way, subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Okay, share this stuff. Here it is. It's called Punk This. It was off an album we did called Step Into My World. It was a point in my life where I was going through a lot of stuff, man. There was some anger and being pissed off quite a bit. You'll probably sense that. This is just an energetic, in-your-face song. So let me know what you think. Are you ready? I'm ready. Is it going to play? Is the question. Here we go. Linkin Park thing I'm talking about, left and right panning. This is me doing some rapping. Check it out. Thinking Dream Theater for this ending right here. And there you have it. So, that's my tribute to Linkin Park. A band that, you know, I guess you would call them nu metal, right, at the time. But I've always been a fan of, you know, growing up in the 80s and playing Randy Rhoads and Malmsteen and Vi, George Lynch, DeMartini, Vinnie Moore, Satriani, Matthias Jabs. Nothing beats that. I wouldn't exchange it for anything in the world. But, you know, that was a great decade for me to be starting out playing guitar. But I always reflected back to like my all-time favorite band in the world, which is the Beatles. And the Beatles were very simple, and they were also extremely complex. So at the end of the day, a good song is a good song. It doesn't have to have 1,500 sweeps with tap slides in it and all this crazy stuff to be a good song. And to me, that's what Linkin Park was about. They just wrote really good songs. And they had the right energy and the right groove and the right feel. And it's not just because it's simple doesn't mean it sucks, or, you know, you just go listen to Dream Theater because everything else sucks. Now, from a musician standpoint, if you want to improve on your playing, sure, man, you're going to go listen to John Petrucci and George Lynch and Al Di Meola and you know, all these different players. But I get asked this a lot by people about what advice I would give to up-and-coming guitar players, and I always come back and reflect on, I think one of the most important things to do is be like a sponge, be open-minded with music, and do not put yourself in a box musically. I get it. The average person is particular to one style. If you go to a Linkin Park concert, you're pretty much going to hear, you know, that style of nu metal music. You're not going to hear, you know, a Rihanna song, you know. If you go to a Cyndi Lauper concert, you're not going to hear Seasons of the Abyss from Slayer. You know what I mean? But as a musician, be open-minded and think of the role that the guitar plays within a song. I listen to Earth, Wind and Fire, man. I think Earth, Wind and Fire is amazing. The Brothers Johnson, Kool and the Gang, Tower of Power. There's always something that can be learned. And sometimes guitar lays back in the pocket, and sometimes it's punching you right between the eyes, real hard and in your face. It's all good at the end of the day. All right. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. I figured it'd be appropriate time. I think I may have a lesson on this on the channel. If I don't, I'm sure you guys are going to want to learn it. So maybe I'll do a lesson on the whole song. I wrote it, so why not? It's a fun song. A lot of cool techniques in it, you know, with the alternate picking and harmonics and different grooves and stuff going on in it. Real choppy parts in it. So be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you're not a subscriber, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And if you don't have a YouTube account, it only takes, man, you can do it in seconds. Create a YouTube account, click subscribe. You'll see it right over here somewhere. Just hit subscribe. It'll notify you every time there's a new lesson on this channel, which is primarily what this channel is, but it's all things music. I have the RGL news desk, and you'll see random stuff sometimes that are just interesting or funny or stupid, but it's really all about music. I appreciate each and every one of you. Since I've been talking to you guys about subscribing, I've seen my subscriber rate go up by about 7 or 8%, so I do really appreciate you guys subscribing. It means a lot to me. I'm at 130,000 subscribers in 5 years. It's just, what a blessing, man. And I've made some really good friends, you know, through my students that I teach on Skype and my CVT and guitar students that I have. So check out my paid services as well. You'll see them ran through the edits here. And feel free to follow me on social media. Facebook's probably the one that I'm more active on, but add me on all of them, all right? And if you're a subscriber, feel free to make a request. You never know, I may pick yours next. I have thousands of song requests, so getting to all of them, it's just impossible. But one thing's for sure is I'm here to stay. So I appreciate you guys for sticking with me and improving on the instrument.